The Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, David Mierswa is a leading trial attorney bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to you. The Dave Mierswa Show, about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. The Dave Mierswa Show, its guests, agents, and WRLR are not rendering any legal advice. All listeners are encouraged to seek legal advice from properly licensed and qualified professionals.
Welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show. I am your host, Attorney Dave Mierswa. Happy noon, happy Sunday to everyone. I hope everyone is just about to grab some lunch, maybe grab a beer, maybe grab some Sacramento wine. Hey, it's for all occasions. So, happy Sunday to everyone. Here we are once again with the Dave Mierswa Show, bringing you cutting-edge topics. Let me say that again. This show is about cutting-edge topics, bringing you many topics that a lot of hosts are afraid to talk about, in-your-face topics. I want to give my shout-outs out of the way. I got another packed show here today, so buckle in and enjoy your food, and let's get the show going here. Let me get the PSAs out of the way. All right, yesterday, we did a remote yesterday out to the Lake County Fairgrounds. Had a great time. A big thank you to Rich for being my co-host on my show yesterday from 3 to 5. A big thank you to all of the other WRLR staff for helping and assisting, putting on the show out there all day. And I got to tell you, I went out there with my wife and a couple of friends, and I thought we were only going to be there a couple of hours. And it turned out we were there most of the day. Lake County Fair was a lot of fun, I got to say. And if you go to Facebook and you search for WRLR, we started off the day observing a pig race. You guessed it, folks. There was a pig race. I posted that on Facebook, WRLR, so take a look at that. I can't tell you enough. That was fun. And a big shout out to all my friends yesterday that came out and all the listeners. Yesterday, I had 2 special guests on that, it's not just talking about national politics. It's also bringing it home, drilling down to the local level here. And I wanted to say thank you to Dan McConaughey. He is State Senator, 26th District. We spoke for an hour yesterday, and all the great things he is bringing to the local level in the State Senate here in Illinois. And so it was a pleasure having him on. Also, yesterday, my last hour of my show, I had Mark Shaw on, and he is Lake County Republican Central Committee GOP chair. This guy's got more titles than I do, let me tell you. But anyway, Mark, thank you for coming on my show. He was at the RNC convention, said he had a great time, and he said one of the most important things that he had coming out of the RNC convention was that everyone was unified. And yes, that's right, folks. The left entertainment media was trying to say otherwise. But we all know about that, and we all know the truth, don't we? Just like this show. Okay, let me get my other shout-outs out of the way. I'm going to dive right into my topic here today. Yes, it may be like diving into a cement pool with no water in, but nonetheless, with all the concussions and head trauma I'm going to feel today, I'm going to go forward with that topic. Okay, on August 2nd, Tuesday, Round Lake Beach National Night Out is going to be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. located at Round Lake Beach Lakefront, presented by Round Lake Beach Police. It's going to be a car show there, hot dogs, live entertainment, and we will be broadcasting live from there. 1019 Lakeshore Drive. Again, that was Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016, 5 to 8. Come out, meet some of the DJs, so forth, so have fun with that. Also coming up on September 10th, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Shepherd of Lakes Lutheran Church is presenting their Health, Safety, and Wellness Fair. So that looks pretty cool. You can go there, get your blood pressure checked, flu shots, diabetes, cholesterol screening. I need that, folks, with all that food I ate yesterday. They're also having a blood drive, and Grays Lake Fire Department is also providing activities for all ages. This is going to be at 285 Washington, Grays Lake. All right, that's the Shepherd Lakes Lutheran Church Health, Safety and Wellness Fair, September 10th, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And let me get out my other two favorite shout-outs here. Folks, I implore you, I beg you, if you are looking to get an animal, please do not go to these for shelter or kill animal shelters. I mean, that's fine, but please go adopt and rescue animals as well. This show puts a voice to things and people and issues that don't have a voice. And one of them is that animals need rescue and loving. So Reach Rescue is a non-for-profit, non-kill animal shelter located in Mundelein, Illinois. So check them out. They have an adoption center. Right next door is a resale shop. So folks, if your college kids are looking for more junk for their dormitory, take them over there, buy them some stuff. Better yet, get rid of some of your stuff and donate it to Reach Rescue. And I'm telling you, folks, the stuff over there is it is top notch, good stuff. I bought stuff over there as well. And then also Save a Pet, located in Grays Lake. Save a Pet has been around there for a while. So folks, get involved. Stop talking about it. Stop wishing things to get done. Get involved and make stuff happen. Okay, that's my shout outs for today. Also, with all you friends and listeners out there, my previous shows are now on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since January of this year, so you can see my pretty handsome face on YouTube. Just put in Dave Mierswa, Mierswa, and also go to my website, law540.com, law540.com, law540.com. Did you hear that? law540.com. All of my previous shows are updated there. I've been on the air now for over 1 year. You've been listening to this handsome voice for over 1 year. Maybe I just lost all my listeners on it. I don't know. But folks, let's get into my show here today. As I said before, I like to do a balanced show. And anyone who knows me, they know that I am a common sense conservative. Okay, I take it issue by issue. I don't just blindly follow one party at whatever particular time. Okay, but anyway, with the RNC being over, the DNC was last week. Today's show is going to be on DNC highlights. Again, today's show is going to be on DNC highlights. Before I get into that, I want to play this really awesome, epic audio. And I think you'll get into a very good mood today after I play my first audio here. So let me cue this up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was Isla Brown singing the national anthem. So that will get you fired up today, folks. I am so proud to be an American. I'm so proud to be here on this radio show and this little radio station here in WRLR, and being part of the WRLR family. And I can't stress that enough. It is a privilege to be on the air once again. And, you know, I'm tired. I'm tired of these anti-American people out there that, burning the flag, desecrating the flag. Let me tell you, someone ever does that in my presence, they're going to have more problems than they'll know what to do. Anyway, beautiful songwriting with the national anthem. That's what kind of mood I am in today. Again, I am so proud to be an American. And I'm not going to apologize to being a proud American. And I'm proud to have this radio show that is, very apple pie, very apple pie and American. I can't get any more than that. Okay, my first audio clip here is Trump versus Hillary, what Trump said at the RNC and what Hillary said at the DNC. Let me get this queued up here so you can listen. You're going to find this really interesting, the contrast between these two.
The irresponsible rhetoric of our president, who has used the pulpit of the presidency to divide us by race and color, has made America a more dangerous environment than, frankly, I have ever seen. The problems we face now, poverty and violence at home, war and destruction abroad, will last only as long as we continue relying on the same politicians who created them in the first place.
But President Obama does not buy Mr. Trump's allegations. Instead, he paints an optimistic picture.
But it's also important for the American people to remember that our crime rate in this country is much lower than it was in the 80s or the 90s or when I first took office, that immigration rates are substantially lower than they were when Ronald Reagan was president, that as serious as these terrorist attacks are, the fact of the matter is that the American people are significantly more safe now than they were before all the work that we've done since 9/11.
Talking Points is in business to put forth the truth, so here it is. According to an average of polling by Real Clear Politics, 69% of Americans are unhappy with the direction of their country. Just 23% are pleased with the present condition of the USA. That is a direct repudiation of President Obama's point of view. Because if we're all safer, as he says, and the economy is fine, why would the folks feel the country's on the wrong track? Why? The perception problem is twofold. Americans believe that a stagnant economy is making it very difficult for workers to increase their salaries, and that's true. The majority of Americans also believe that disorder, both at home and around the world, is putting them in actual danger. Donald Trump has capitalized on those sentiments, saying he will make things better. Hillary Clinton seems to mostly support President Obama's vision, but does acknowledge the economic problem.
I want an economy that gets back to raising incomes for everybody. Most Americans haven't had a raise. I want an economy that's going to help lift millions of people out of poverty, because given the Great Recession, we have fallen back in the wrong direction.
But the Great Recession was nearly 9 years ago. I mean, come on. By this time, the American economic engine should be roaring. Instead, growth this year estimated to be below 2%. That's dismal. Now, there are 3 new polls in the Trump-Clinton race. CNN has it 48-45 Trump, so he got a bounce out of the Republican convention last week, according to CNN. CBS has it 44-43 Trump, a tie. Los Angeles Times 45-41 Trump over Clinton. So despite all the controversy surrounding Donald Trump, if the election were held today, he might very well win. However, to be fair, perhaps Hillary Clinton will get a bounce out of her convention this week. Now back to the problems. Higher taxes and massive income redistribution will not stimulate the economy. So Mrs. Clinton's going to have to deal with that and separate herself from the Obama machine, or run on the economy we have now. Many in the Democratic Party support open borders. That means the consequences of illegal drug importation, illegal aliens committing crimes, and higher competition for low-wage jobs will continue if there were open borders, would they not? It'll be interesting to see if any Democrat puts forth a specific solution to deal with illegal immigration this week. On the foreign front, President Obama's decision to pull all U.S. troops out of Iraq directly led to the rise of ISIS. The president's failure to attack ISIS on the ground has allowed the savages to expand their influence. Mr. Obama's failure to destroy Assad's air force in Syria when he could have, after drawing that red line over poison gas, has directly led to millions of refugees storming into Europe. That crisis has profoundly damaged the region and perhaps even stimulated Great Britain leaving the European Union. President Obama's failure to confront Putin in Russia has directly led to chaos in Ukraine and Eastern Europe. The Iranian nuke deal has increased the power of the mullahs in the Middle East. The Libyan debacle has given ISIS a foothold in that country. The Chinese are expanding in Southeast Asia. Afghanistan is now a sanctuary not only for the Taliban, but also for ISIS terrorists who killed 80 people over the weekend in Kabul. The list goes on. Back home, race relations are worse than at any time since the 1960s. In some areas, police and young black men even fear for their lives. The far left has run wild under President Obama, selling a narrative that America is a bad country, an evil country, dominated by white supremacy. Drug use is skyrocketing, even as the Obama administration puts forth that criminals who sell poison like heroin, meth, and cocaine are non-violent and deserve leniency. Political correctness destroying free speech and giving power to the charlatans who are clogging the court system with frivolous lawsuits. Again, talking points could go on for hours. So Donald Trump may be terrifying voters with his rhetoric, as the New York Times says, but his warnings are based in reality, are they not? Foreign and domestic terrorism is a contagion that is not being effectively confronted. Americans understand that all our lives have been changed. It's now routine to see innocent people slaughtered in the streets. All of what I have just laid out in this talking points is in stone truth, no spin. And that truth has led to the rise of a strongman politician, Donald Trump. The Democratic convention this week will seek to counter Mr. Trump. We'll see if it succeeds.
Okay, so that was O'Reilly on the Factor, kind of laying out the differences between Hillary and Donald Trump. And I got to say, I ended up watching the RNC. I ended up watching most of the DNC. And, over the next couple of weeks, I will be, contrasting between the two. Yesterday, when I did my live remote from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock at Lake County Fairgrounds, that's what I tried to do. I was talking about the differences. And there are very clear and distinct differences between Donald Trump and Hillary. And you can go Google Hillary's speech. You can Google all of the RNC speeches as well as the DNC speeches. And one of the things that caught my eye, go back and listen to Bill Clinton and how he introduced Hillary and how she's been in politics for so long, and his speech. It was a moving speech. I like the idea that, when he said that the best day of his life was when Chelsea was born. So, I give him that. I definitely give him that. And his daughter, he has, starting to raise a family and so forth. But, it's amazing how he stood up there and he talked about Hillary and meeting her in the law library. And they both went to law school together. And, catching her eye across the law library. And how dedicated he was throughout his life for her. And there are a lot of millennium generation kids here that, all I can say is, it was a good story. And I believe somewhere, down in his heart, I believe he does care for his family and his daughter and Hillary. I definitely believe that. But he skipped over a lot of things that, I mean, of course, he's not going to admit this at the DNC, talking about all the character, issues that he would have. But there are a lot of them. And it just amazes me. In the 90s, all the way back when he was in Arkansas with Jennifer Flowers and, all this infidelity, and I'm glad they're still together, but, it just seems kind of disingenuous that you would, if you love a person that much, you don't go and do things against their back. That's just me. I'm maybe you can call me old-fashioned, but there's a couple of things I believe in, and one of them is loyalty to your friends and loyalty to your family. Anyway, one of the other things that really caught my eye, and this show I'm not going to have enough time to play all the audio clips on, but check out what Mrs. Obama had in her speech. I thought that was relatively good, and let me play my next speech here. That this is Obama at the DNC against Trump. So let's hear what he has to say. And this is an audio clip from NJ.com.
America is already great. America is already strong. And I promise you, our strength, our greatness, does not depend on Donald Trump. In fact, it doesn't depend on any one person. And that, in the end, may be the biggest difference in this election. The meaning of our democracy. Ronald Reagan called America a shining city on a hill. Donald Trump calls it a divided crime scene that only he can fix. It doesn't matter to him that illegal immigration and the crime rate are as low as they've been in decades, because he's not actually offering any real solutions to those issues. He's just offering slogans, and he's offering fear. He's betting that if he scares enough people, he might score just enough votes to win this election. And that's another bet that Donald Trump will lose. And the reason he'll lose it is because he's selling the American people short. We're not a fragile people. We're not a frightful people. Our power doesn't come from some self-declared savior promising that he alone can restore order as long as we do things his way. We don't look to be ruled. Our power comes from those immortal declarations first put to paper right here in Philadelphia all those years ago. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that we, the people, can form a more perfect union. That's who we are. That's our birthright. The capacity to shape our own destiny.
So that was a small audio clip in Obama's speech at the DNC. And they spent, if you listen to a lot of the speakers, oh my God, they spent so much time trying to trash Donald Trump. And they really never got to the concrete issues. And which I kept waiting and kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And I heard Hillary's speech, and you had to go to Google and listen to it. I thought it was a good speech. She's carrying a lot of baggage over the last 30 years, and, listen to it. But her husband said that she's, a dedicated and hard worker, and she's been in politics for 30 years. and take a look at what exactly has she accomplished. What exactly has she accomplished? And look for it in the speech. It wasn't there. And there was nothing there about security of the United States. And it was mostly fanfare. You know, how about how re-energized she is and how American she is. So I was disappointed in that regard. You know, and here's the other thing that really rocked the DNC. And this is unbelievable. If you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, I don't know how you could vote for Hillary after what the DNC did to you. And Donald Trump called out the RNC. The RNC was trying to do the same thing to him, but he called them out. He fought them any which way. And even when he was being nominated, they were still trying to fight him from his nomination. That's the RNC, so it was real. But I don't know if you've been on Cloud 9 this past week, but here's what Jack Tapper has to say about what happened with the DNC and them being against Bernie Sanders. So let me cue this up.
So Jake, one of the things I'm sure people are going to be watching is Bernie Sanders, and I know he's on your show today.
He is, and we have some big questions for him after this DNC leak. As you know, somebody hacked into the DNC computer, and WikiLeaks just recently published a bunch of these emails, and there are a number of emails in which senior officials of the Democratic National Committee can be seen conspiring against Bernie Sanders, talking about how his faith should be asked about before the Kentucky or West Virginia primaries, talking about hit pieces to pitch to reporters about his campaign allegedly being in disarray. It is ugly. And, you know, as they say, it ain't paranoia if they're actually out to get you. The effect of this is going to be big. We need to see, what is Bernie Sanders going to say? How is this going to impact the millions of Americans who voted for Bernie Sanders? One of the reasons for which was because they hated what they saw as a corrupt political system, and voila, here is evidence of that corrupt political system. It is a potential bombshell, and we'll see how it impacts the Philadelphia Democratic Convention.
You don't think there's any chance that, especially since there have been some concessions made, we should say, regarding superdelegates' role at their convention, there's no chance that Bernie Sanders is going to pull out of his role at the convention. He is still solidly behind Hillary, yes?
I think so.
Okay, as we all know, what happened at the DNC, and there were leaked emails, and the DNC and the Hillary camp tried to blame Trump. Can you believe this? You know, and this is one of their tactics. And I can't stand it when the Republicans do it either, just so you know. But after these leaked emails from the DNC, and Debbie Wasserman was the chairperson at the time, and she was quoted, and they were hedging and conspiring against Bernie Sanders, and the DNC and the RNC is supposed to be neutral. The candidates are supposed to be neutral and then to win by delegates. And it was completely rigged. And they don't want this message to come across. So if you're a Bernie Sanders, you know, my question to you, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, my question to you is, how can you support an administration, a nominated person that hired, Debbie Wasserman was fired. I'm going to play the clip after break. But she was let go by the DNC only after it was discovered. And there's no doubt that she conspired with, you know, the Clinton campaign. There's no doubt. And what are they going to say? You know, we purged the emails. And if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, and there were millions of them, I don't know how you could get behind and vote for Hillary. I don't know how you could. If something happened like this behind Trump, there is no way I could vote for him. There is no way. Anyway, with that being said, I got to cut the break here, and we're going to listen to a few spots here, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the Dave Mierswa Show. And my next audio clip is going to be pretty interesting. I really got some great clips coming in.
RLR.
Welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, David Mierswa is the leading trial attorney, bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to you. The Dave Mierswa Show, about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. The Dave Mierswa Show, its guests, agents, and WRLR are not rendering any legal advice. All listeners are encouraged to seek legal advice from properly licensed and qualified professionals.
Welcome back to the Dave Mierswa Show. I hope everyone's having a great Sunday. I hope you're enjoying my show here today. And, I really am trying to play some of the highlights, but, I'm drilling down to the truth as to what happened. And I understand everyone wants to feel good, and especially with all the Democratic listeners out there, and they really want to be proud of their party and so forth. And I got to say that I'm not really proud of a lot of things that what Trump said. Okay, let me admit that right up front, because I know a lot of listeners are like, well, do you know what Trump said and what he said yesterday and the day before? I got those clips. But one of the things that I look at what action that this candidate is going to take, and not just give lip service to it. And I'm not finding that from Hillary. And then the DNC starts out with another scandal. Unbelievable. Let me play my next audio clip here. Here's Debbie Wasserman. She was the former DNC chairman before it came out from WikiLeaks that they were conspiring and rigged the election to have Clinton nominated. It's unbelievable. And you can try to deny it all you want, but they rigged the delegates for her so she would win. And go back and take a look at who won the popular vote. And remember back when George W. Bush won? He won by the delegates, and the opposing presidential candidate won by the popular vote. And I believe it was Al Gore. And there are a lot of disfranchised Americans from that. So believe me, how do you feel about this? Your own party did the same thing to you. So let me cue up Debbie Wasserman here. Settle down now. Settle down. Stop all the booing.
Okay. All right. We have a big program. Today. Let's be respectful. Please be quiet so Debbie can speak. It's okay. Everybody, let's hear from our speakers. We have other speakers as well.
Thank you all so much. First of all, I want to ask everybody to join me in acknowledging that we had a tragic shooting in Fort Myers just yesterday, where there were children who were
You hear all the continuous booing?
and
It's
people lost their
unbelievable.
lives. We know something. We know something in Florida about making sure that we can have the voices across our state heard. and standing with the people with you to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I can see there's a little bit of interest in my being here, and I appreciate that interest, and a little bit of interest from the press, but that really shows you that Florida is the most significant battleground state that will make sure that...
All right, let me cut through a lot of her audio clip here. I'm going to try to find towards the end here, see what she has to say, because this goes on for another 4 minutes, and I only got about 20 minutes left of the show here, so let me fast forward on this. Hold on.
Surrogate throughout this campaign so that we could make sure that she is able to help build on the progress that we've been able to make for the last 8 years. Because we have a lot of work to do. We have so much to do, and we have to make sure that we move forward together in a unified way. We know that the voices in this room that are standing up and being disruptive, we know that that's not the Florida that we know. The Florida that we know is united. The Florida that we know is going to make sure that we continue to...
Okay, she goes on and on. Yeah, she's disillusioned. And give me a break. And another thing is that, if you're a Hillary supporter, that's fine. I respect you being a Hillary supporter, but really, after she gets fired from the DNC as chair, Clinton immediately hires her for her campaign. And this is her talking from campaign. Did you hear all the continuous booing? And then she starts berating them and starts yelling at them that, they're being rude and whatever. This is the audacity of what you're possibly voting for. It's just unbelievable. And again, I can't tell you who to vote for, but all I can do is tell you some of the points of view. My next audio clip here, here's the DNC reacting to what happened with Wasserman and the people around her in the scandal. So let's hear what DNC has to say. And they're hoping that a lot of the listeners, my friends here, are going to forget it. I won't, but let me play the next audio clip here.
Joining me for more on this, on the leaked emails and the controversy surrounding the DNC, is reporter Manila Chan. Manila, how is the Clinton campaign handling this? How are they responding to all of this?
Well, and as you can imagine, the Clinton camp was very quick to jump on this in hopes of shifting the focus, spinning the narrative, diverting it from the actual content of these emails, which we now know to have been very damaging to the Sanders campaign. Robbie Mook, though, Clinton's campaign manager, came right out and pointed fingers squarely at Russia. And on top of that, not only did he point his finger at Russia, he also called it a conspiracy for Russia to help Donald Trump win this election, essentially so that it could be a Trump-Vladimir Putin dual superpower, I guess, in 2017. Even Trump himself has come out to publicly denounce this. He called this theory a joke. People have recently been talking about Trump's NATO comments, as we saw earlier today, essentially calling it obsolete and stating that a President Trump may not uphold the commitments within the treaty for the nations who do not pay their membership dues, which are 2% of their GDP. But this diversion tactic isn't really actually about pointing fingers at any particular hackers or any hacker from any particular nation. But it's just a spin.
And the Clinton campaign is saying that they don't have anything to do with this, that she didn't know about it.
Absolutely.
And that's a tough sell, isn't it?
This is a tough sell because this shows that the DNC was in cahoots with the Clintons from day one. So if the content of those emails wasn't damning enough, certainly the fact that Debbie Wasserman Schultz has accepted a position already after she resigns at the end of this week with the Clinton campaign, that should be damning in and of its own merit.
So where does this leave the Sanders supporters?
Well, it kind of leaves them in a rut.
And how are they going to clean this up?
They're not gonna. I don't think so, Ed. The DNC has finally just issued an official apology, 72 hours later. Take a look at what they had to say. They said, on behalf of everyone at the DNC, we want to offer a deep and sincere apology to Senator Sanders, his supporters, and the entire Democratic Party for the inexcusable remarks made over email. These comments do not reflect the values of the DNC or our steadfast commitment to neutrality during the nominating process. The DNC does not and will not tolerate disrespectful language exhibited toward our candidates. Individual staffers have also rightfully apologized for their comments, and the DNC is taking appropriate action to ensure it never happens again. So yes, that is step one, issue the apology. But I think this level of undermining the whole democratic process, a simple mea culpa just isn't going to cut it. These emails, their content is outright subversion of the Sanders campaign. And I think Democrats across the country have been shaken to their core because it shows the length and the measures that the people at the top in power don't want to upset the apple cart.
All right, Manila Chan, thanks so much for that report tonight.
That was an audio from, let me check here. Yeah, RT America. I got that audio from YouTube, RT America. So you heard, it took them 72 hours. It took the DNC 72 hours to apologize. And it's just another hollow attempt. And I don't know at this point, and if you're a Democratic voter, how can you not be questioning? How can you not be mad, and how can you not be upset over what happened with the rigged process at the DNC? How can you not be? And how can you sit by and allow this process to go by? And then I don't get it, and I don't understand it. And how can the followers of Hillary just overlook this? I don't get that, and I don't understand that. It just blows my mind away. And the whole thing was rigged. And you can argue whatever you want. Her nomination was a false, it was just a false, a misnomer and a false prelude as to the national election. And I don't know how you can square that. And yeah, I'm really glad we got the first, women to be nominated for, a national party group, and I think that's historical. And just like when President Obama was nominated and elected as president, I was very happy to see the first African-American black president. But, you look back, I'm looking back at his track record, I'm looking back at her track record, and then all this comes out. And then, again, she denies it. And then FBI, James Comey, gave all these recitals to all of the lies that she stated. And if you're a Hillary supporter, God bless you. But you gotta be thinking twice, and you gotta open your mind, just like I am with Trump. There's a lot of things I don't like about Trump. Definitely, I don't like. But you gotta open your eyes. I got a couple of minutes here. Here is one of the biggest hot button topics. Khizr Khan, a Muslim whose son was in the military and got killed in combat, I believe. Here's some of his statements that he made at the DNC. I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to play the Trump response to that. So hold on, let me cue this up.
Tonight we are honored to stand here as parents of Captain Humayun Khan and as patriotic American Muslims. As patriotic American Muslims with undivided loyalty to our country, like many immigrants, we came to this country empty-handed we believed in American democracy, that with hard work and goodness of this country, we could share in and contribute to its blessings. We are blessed to raise our 3 sons in a nation where they were free to be themselves and follow their dreams. Our son, Humayun, had dreams too of being a military lawyer, but he put those dreams aside the day he sacrificed his life to save the lives of his fellow soldiers. Hillary Clinton was right when she called my son the best of America. If it was up to Donald Trump, he never would have been in America. Donald Trump consistently smears the character of Muslims. He disrespects other minorities, women, judges, even his own party leadership. He vows to build walls and ban us from this country. Donald Trump, you're asking Americans to trust you with their future. Let me ask you, have you even read the United States Constitution?
Okay, and this past week, the left entertainment media, let me say that again, the left entertainment media grabbed a hold of that one little soundbite and tried to capture that. And once again, if you take a look at how they're attacking Trump, they're not really coming after him on his issues, because they're going to win on the issues. But they're trying to attack his character, which, the guy, yeah, he's got a big mouth, but let's hear what he has to say in response to Khizr Khan. And by the way, a big shout out and a big thank you to all the women and the men and their families in the military and all of our veterans. My sincere thank you to them, and also all the sacrifices that Mr. Khan has made as well. So no one is not giving their due, and I do think his son is a hero. He's definitely right in saying that. But here's Donald Trump's response to Mr. Khan's allegations.
There's a man named Khizr Khan speaking at the Democratic Convention. His son, Captain Humayun Khan, was killed serving in Iraq, and he had some very tough questions for you. He said you wouldn't have even let his son in America.
He doesn't know that. I saw him. He was, very emotional and probably looked like a nice guy to me. His wife, if you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say, you tell me, but plenty of people have written that. She was extremely quiet, and it looked like she had nothing to say. A lot of people have said that, and personally, I watched him. I wish him the best of luck, George.
What would you say to that, Father?
Well, I'd say we've had a lot of problems with radical Islamic terrorism. That's what I'd say. We have a lot of problems where you look at San Bernardino, you look at Orlando, you look at the World Trade Center, you look at so many different things. You look at what happened to the priest over the weekend in Paris, where his throat was cut, 85-year-old beloved Catholic priest. You look at what happened in Nice, France a couple of weeks ago. I'd say you got to take a look at that, because something's going on and it's not good.
He said you have sacrificed nothing and no one.
Well, that sounds, who wrote that? Did Hillary's scriptwriters write it?
How would you answer that, Father? What sacrifice have you made for your country?
I think I made a lot of sacrifices. I worked very, very hard. I've created thousands and thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs. I think
those are
I've done a lot.
sacrifices?
Oh, sure, I think they're sacrifices. I think when I can employ thousands and thousands of people, take care of their education, take care of so many things, even in military, I mean, I was very responsible, along with a group of people, for getting the Vietnam Memorial built in downtown Manhattan, which to this day people thank me for. I raised, and I have raised, millions of dollars for the vets. I'm helping the vets a lot. I think my popularity with the vets is through the roof.
Okay, that was Donald Trump's response to Kaiser Khan's allegations against Trump, that most likely a lot of the talking points were the same ones that were at the DNC, and some of it, and again, my heart goes out to him and his family. There's no bigger sacrifice to a father and a mother as having their son killed, and especially in combat. And his son is a hero. So let me make that clear. His son is definitely a hero, and I know there's a lot of emotion that goes into a family death, no doubt about that. So, the utmost respect for, Mr. Khan and his family and his wife. But, some of the statements where, Trump wouldn't allow his son in and so forth. And, and here it is. I got just a couple of minutes here, and my last thoughts. So all you Democrats that were out there and, rah, 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 you're at the DNC, and last week, what happened in that church that was around Normandy when these radical Islamic terrorists, let me say that again, radical Islamic terrorists came into a church. There was an 84-year-old priest. They beheaded him. They cut off his head on the altar. So this is your in-your-face moment for today and today's show. So while the DNC was all patting themselves on the back and how proud they are and how great they are, they didn't even acknowledge that. Unbelievable. I got about 30 seconds left of the show. So while the DNC was going on, an 84-year-old priest's head was cut off on an altar in a church. That's the truth. That's the hard-hitting truth of what happened last week as well. That the left entertainment media just blazed over as usual. Okay, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's show. I was hoping to play more highlights on the DNC side. This is only an hour show, so sorry I can't bring you more, but again, it was my pleasure to be live today on this show. Next week, I'm going to be back at 12 noon. I'm going to have some more hard-hitting topics, some more cutting-edge topics. So you friends and listeners out there around Lake County, you take care of yourself and your friends now and your family. And I'll be back next week at 12 noon. Bye now.